These are devotions for people at a social distance. As I pause to reflect on this day, I can't, as a Canadian looking across the border, I can't help but remember that today is American Thanksgiving today, which is at least proverbially, and in all the comics and movies that are made, this day of enormous conflict as people gather around this Thanksgiving dinner and these discussions about politics and differences of opinion always erupt and people start going at each other. And of course, that is just symbolic of what we seem to be living in the world today, in our own country as well, of this is a time where divides are incredibly deep and people are in conflict and disagreement about so many things these days. It just feels like we're living in very divisive times. And, that's life in the world, I guess, at the moment, and that's part of where we are. But the passage I read this morning in the letter of James really spoke to me about that and gave me a timely reminder. Those conflicts and disputes among you, it says in James 4, verse 1, those conflicts and disputes among you, where do they come from? Do they not come from your cravings that are at war within you? And isn't that interesting that James makes this very astute observation that when we have conflicts, when we disagree, often that disagreement is not actually about the things we're disagreeing about. We're not fighting over what we're fighting over. That's what he's saying here. He's saying that there are things inside you, your own lacks, your own shortcomings, the things that you desire, maybe because you really need them, or maybe because that desire is replacing something else you really need, but that deep craving within you for whatever you perceive you don't have. Yeah, and that could be as simple as the affirmation and affection you deserve but you didn't receive, and that maybe you try to replace with material goods or whatever else, but it's because of our own lackings within ourselves and how we deal with those in dysfunctional way. That leads to conflicts and disputes and arguments and sets us one against the other. So if you are involved in disagreements, maybe with people you love on this day or in these times, take it as an opportunity to be introspective, to look into yourself and say, what is it I'm really lacking? And what is it that I am craving? And is that craving replacing a real lack, something that I am lacking and needing? And where can I find, those kinds of deep, deep questions. We need to look into ourselves when we find ourselves in arguments, discussions, conflicts, and disputes with others. That is a bit of wisdom, I think, from James. Lord our God, let us look into ourselves and see where our disputes and arguments may originate from within ourselves and our own cravings and our own lacks. Amen.